just welcome everyone. It's Beth Johnston here, the Chief Community Engagement Officer at the FSHD Society. And I just want to welcome you back to our weekly series of FSHD Society Sequester Camp webinars. We recognize that so many of you are already feeling isolated, and now it's even worse, not being able to get out, for others to come visit you. So we care about what's happening amidst this whole coronavirus crisis and the subsequent sequestering of people. So we've created this webinar series especially for our FSHD community. We're going to run it every week, Thursday at the same time for as long as we need to, okay? We're going to be sharing information, resources, and especially this much needed social support. And best of all, anyone can join from anywhere. And today we're going to try to stream on Facebook Live. Hopefully you can join us from there soon, but we'll see how that goes. Good old technology. I think everyone's trying to do the same thing. Today on our second of these wonderful webinars, we're going to explore how to connect and how to help. Our guests today are our wonderful FSHD community members, Amy Beckier and Cindy Seagroves, who will share their tips, and they want to hear your ideas as well. This is going to be interactive at some point. So a little bit of housekeeping after we've heard from Amy and Cindy. So after we've heard from them, there's an option for you to raise your hand if you'd like to speak or to say something or ask a question, and we can bring you in to speak at that point. So when we've heard from Amy and Cindy, that's kind of the housekeeping if you're interested in saying a few words or asking some questions. Amy currently serves on the FSHD Society Board of Directors and is also our San Diego chapter director. Cindy and her husband Ray, who may join us at a later time, live in Tucson, Arizona. They're super active in the FSH community there in the Arizona chapter, and as well as our online communities, which is so great. Thank you, Cindy and Ray. So now, ladies, I will turn it over to you.
Thank you, Beth. Welcome, everybody. I was looking forward to today. I know we sent out some questions online, and we were hoping for a discussion. If there is on the bottom of your chat, there is a place to hit for chat where you can type in questions or answers to some of the things that we've thrown out there, because we don't have all the answers, and we're going to hope that you have some answers that we can help everyone. It's a very stressful time. We are stressful to begin with, and then trying to cope with what's going on. There are ways, and we're all in this together. So Cindy is a veteran at figuring things out. She's a master of coping, and I just adore her. So we're going to chime in together. Some of the questions that I'm going to throw out, and while we're discussing them, feel free to type in and send into, and I think, Beth, you will receive those and you can read some of their answers.
Yes, ma'am.
One of the questions is, what are you doing, you as an FSH patient and a family member, what are you doing to cope with the stress? What worries you the most? How are you getting your supplies? How are you managing to stay stocked when you're not supposed to go out? What are you doing to keep busy? How are you managing to stay connected? And what do you do that might help others? So the most important thing that I would hope to impart today is to try to find a way to keep getting the updated information, but keep the worry in perspective. It's one thing to be anxious. We're all anxious. If you weren't anxious, there'd be something wrong with you. But it's another thing to be paralyzed by that anxiety. And this is where coping needs to come in, and we have to do whatever it is that we can to keep ourselves calm and thinking in a rational way. Cindy, do you want to add anything at this point to that?
Yeah, I do. And that it's okay to not be okay right now. You know, in general, it's okay not to be okay. There are people, you know, FSH doesn't preclude us from anxiety or mental health issues. So keep in mind that others are going through it differently. So we, you know, take care of yourself, reach out to people, you know, that sort of thing. But hey, we welcome all the questions, anything that you have. What I love is the diversity. Different people have different ways of handling different situations, but be supportive of the different um, responses. And it is okay to not be okay. Okay.
Really good point. And I'll share with you a little bit of how the quarantine is affecting me, and my concerns. I live alone right now. I am part-time, mostly homebound, and I have part-time home health aide coming and in-home physical therapy coming. And my concerns are if they don't come, that I'm in trouble. I've lost my lifeline. But if they do come, my concern is they might be bringing COVID-19 into me. So there is a risk reward, and you just have to do your best. You cannot prevent all of it. You just kind of have to hope and, be diligent. Being overly obsessive and making yourself crazy isn't good either. So, I have worked it out where my physical therapist, who goes to other homes as well, I've asked him to come to me first. And since I'm his favorite, he agreed to do that. I said, shower in the morning, do me a favor, put on clean clothes and come to me first. And when you come in, you'll wash your hands and then you'll go over about the rest of your day. And so far, we've been trying to manage that as best as we can. It's managing the fear and expectations. Things just can't be helped. There is fragility of service. What do you do if your support system breaks down? What do you do if your home aide or your physical therapist or your driver, they come down with it and they can't come to you? So, there's a fine line and we just have to live it day by day. Friends, neighbors, my family's been checking in. I'm on nextdoor.com. Nextdoor.com is a great thing if you're not on that to sign on in your area. You can designate what area you want to be notified about, which would be your locality. I have it listed within about 1.5 miles of my home. And people write in and people are saying, call me or private message me if you're in trouble and we'll look in. Last night I got a call from a handyman that I use just to make sure I was okay. Check your local family services. I know 211 is a nationwide thing now where you can call in for information. If you have an electronic monitoring system like Medical Alert or Lifeline or even your Apple ID, these are all things now that we need in case that support system breaks down. And of course, our Facebook online community. Cindy, you got any others in there you want to add?
So yes, I've found that the neighbors and different things have been fabulous. So Ray's here. I don't know if anybody can see Ray.
Hello, Ray.
Hey, Ray.
Hello, Ray.
So as far as things that have worried me, Ray traveled from Australia a couple of days ago, and that had me stressed to no end. Not because I was worried that he had it, but because I don't know was he going to get quarantined in LA? There's multiple. It changed from 2 flights to 4 flights to get home, and then I'm like, well, what happens to the wheelchair? If you get through all this and now you got 3 times as many people touching the wheelchair, which gives you more potential for breakage when you're flying. I'm like, oh, is he going to get here in one piece? Is he get here with the wheelchair in one piece? Those sorts of things were stressing me out earlier this week. But he's here. The supplies, I know for myself, I've been using delivery for groceries for a while, even though the groceries not very far away, and if it was nice sunny weather, just wheel over there and back easy. But I've used delivery, and okay, well now what happens with the delivery services, and those have been really late, and you have to be extremely patient at this point. So yesterday, I was supposed to get groceries delivered between 8 and 9 a.m. We got them a little after 5 p.m. That's okay. Did it freak me out during the day? Absolutely. Going, I hope we get something. If we don't, all right, well, there's restaurants that we can have delivered. We can make this work if we have to. But it's a matter of, there's a lot of patience And depending on how your house is set up, I can have people come through the door and not touch me or touch anything and just sit things down on the floor right by the door, and I'm good. I can deal with putting it all away. So there's different things that stress me out. I think one of the things that was brought up was a question over here. Do you feel that FSHD people stress out more than the rest of the country? I don't necessarily think that it's more. I think we have some different concerns. They're all, I have seen more non-FSH people voice their stress more recently, that they're bringing up like, okay, this is a bit much for me. You know, I don't know how to deal with this work from home and that sort of thing. And FYI, I've been working from home for like 9 years. So that part's not new to me. What's new to me is having all of my team work from home. So that's one of those weird things of there's been a lot more communication one-on-one because everybody's at home at the moment. So
yeah. Yeah, and what I want to say is with all of this, the very, very first line of defense, and this would, of course, be obvious at any time, but especially now, we're trying to keep clean, we're trying to keep disinfected, we're trying to keep away from other people, but the very first line of defense is a good immune system. Now is a good time to reintroduce those New Year's resolutions for good health and keeping a good immune system strong by eating right, getting fresh air, doing your hobbies, good nutrition, stress control, because God forbid you do get this COVID-19 or any flu or anything like that. If you're healthy, you know, your system can work with you. So that would be what, in my opinion, what the first line of defense in this war to stay healthy. So that would be my advice on that. We want to move on to ways to connect and what we're doing to connect with others to stay healthy. Now, are there anything online questions about how people are connecting? I don't see anything on there about that yet.
Not yet.
Okay.
Have some other questions, but they're not on this topic, so we'll hold on them.
I mean, some of these are obvious. We're doing it right now. We're on a webinar. We're connecting with each other this way. There's a whole host of things. Unfortunately, for those who are not computer or tech savvy, then I would recommend you get somebody to get you set up, because the isolation itself is psychologically damaging and frightening. And when you're watching too much news, it can really get you to that point of paralysis. So of course there's FaceTime. I've done a lot of FaceTime. I FaceTime with Cindy. I FaceTime with Ray. I FaceTime with Michelle McKay. I don't know if she's on today. I had a chant from Australia. And incidentally, I want to mention that Ray kept a monologue going on Facebook of his travel, where he landed, what his layovers were, what was happening, and real time. So that was a lot of fun to watch, and I'm sure it kept him occupied, and it kept us who were concerned for his travels, watching him come home. So that was kind of fun. Then there's Messenger. We do a lot of direct messaging, private messaging with a lot of the different in the group texting, private messaging friends, group emails. I've got a book club that I'm running, which we had to cancel a meeting. So we just all discussed using the reply all on the email thread, going back and forth discussing the book for the book club and social clubs. These things sound obvious, but honestly, you gotta really be diligent about doing them, because otherwise it's just easy to sit and either binge on Netflix or watch the news too much, and you've got to be able to turn that off.
So Amy, I'm going to add a little thing there. Don't forget your basic telephone. Even though there's all the technology to see the face, you know, sometimes it's that actual phone call. I know last Sunday I actually called my aunt and uncle and my stepmom and my sister and stuff, who aren't as tech savvy. They don't have the smartphones and the webcams and all that stuff set up. So don't forget a basic actual phone call
Yeah.
helps as well.
And Sander Karp, she wrote in and said, or he, I'm sorry, wrote in to say that learning how to play bridge and done online. And there are a lot of options and websites and learning how to play bridge online, which can keep you busy. A repetitive thing is you got to have humor. You got to have humor and you got to pay it forward. I just posted last night something on my website that said, of all the stupid things I've done in my life, if I die from touching my face, I'm going to be seriously pissed.
Yes.
So you got to have a sense of humor.
Well, and you have to have a purpose to your day. I know there's been a few things online about, oh, do I actually need to get up and get dressed? Do I need to do this? You know, I'm not leaving the house. Here's the thing, have some purpose to your day. I don't care if your purpose is to binge watch every episode of Law and Order. I don't care whether it's, you know, my goal for today is to actually eat breakfast. Whatever it is, enjoy it, you know, learn to play bridge, learn to, you know, solve a Rubik's Cube. Whatever it is, just go, this is what I'm doing today, and make that your purpose.
Yeah.
Just to have something, because otherwise you'll get into this, well, what day is it? What's happening? You know, and I agree with Amy as far as keep informed, but don't have that be your whole life right now, because I'm sorry, it's just depressing to learn about, oh, there's so many infected, there's so many deaths. You know, it's challenging, but find something to do, something to help with. I know my neighbors and different colleagues and stuff have emailed and texted and said, do you need anything? You know, I have a relative that works for delivery services. Do you want me to have them pick you up something? You know, that sort of thing. So,
Amy, Jack in Atlanta mentioned that FSHD radio is a great way to stay connected. And now Tim Hollenbeck, who's amazing, our radio host, he's expanding the radio show to every Wednesday night, 9 o'clock Eastern. So you can call into that show or you can see it on Facebook Live. So that's a great way to stay connected. And June mentioned that a lot of communities have set up what's called mutual aid network. So they put lists on Google Docs of all the people in the community that are volunteering to help. So that's also a great way to stay connected.
Great. And Deb Calhoun wrote in that she telecommutes for work and her husband is away during the week. So it's not uncommon for her to be alone and not leave the house for a week or two. First week or so, the quarantine, there was a tremendous sense of solidarity. All sorts of resources became shared: concerts, museum tours, social connections. And it was amazing. As the quarantine has continued and the larger community faces isolation, she's found herself feeling discouraged as people describe how hard it is to be isolated. I keep thinking, wait, this is my normal life. Yeah. I've emailed into people and said, you know, welcome to my life. Hello. You know, I can't feel that sorry for you, but
yeah, this is my world. That's how I live normally. So what's odd now, what's the struggle I've seen with my teammates and what's going to happen now is neither one of us, Ray nor I, are going to leave the house for 2 weeks, just out of precaution. But at the same time, you know, I'm used to being totally alone. So now you got somebody else there. And that's what I'm seeing with a lot of people who are used to being alone, that she didn't talk about, well, is the husband now home? Okay, how does that interfere when you're used to being isolated and used to being by yourself? Now you've got people who are constantly there. It brings a different dynamic, you know?
yeah, and I also think it's the fear of, as I mentioned before, the fragility of our own networks, that if they get sick and they can't come. For instance, in San Diego, I'm having a terrible time. I can't get any groceries delivered. The deliveries and the pickup schedules are completely booked out. So the only way to get food is to physically go to these stores, which is something I don't want to do. And that's where, thank God, my friends, as soon as I posted that, stepped up and said, tell me what you need. We'll be there with it tomorrow morning. So I think that's also the frightening part is not having that connection if something happens to these people. Belinda writes in, be nice to people. You know, everyone is stressed. So when, as Cindy mentioned, she had to wait till 5 o'clock for the delivery, I'm sure that guy has been running around all day long doing his best. So we're all under that. June, by the way, is going to be listing the links to the mutual aid networks on the Sequester Camp page, and a lot of what suggestions that we're going to be talking about today and have spoken about will also be posted on the Sequester Camp page. Let's move on. We have a few more minutes on ways we can help, which is interesting because we've been looking for people to help us. And the very thing that we're doing today, Cindy and I, on this webpage, this is a way that we're helping. However, I have to tell you folks, it helps me. When you have to try to practice what you preach, it goes both ways. So when you reach out to try to help others and people are amazed, you're helping me, you're looking after me, look at yourself, it really makes a difference in your attitude. And attitude is everything. It's how we approach this, how we handle this. Call to check in on others if you haven't heard from them in a while. And we know this is obvious. Many stores have tried to set up senior and disabled only hours. Problem for me and many of us is it takes so long in the morning for us to get ready that we can't get there early enough to take advantage of the disabled only hours. From what I've seen, the disabled only hours, the lines are out the store and down the block. So again, this is where you might have to rely on someone else. Obvious things like wearing gloves, wiping down your equipment. Cindy mentioned before with flying, so many hands are touching your equipment, washing your hands, washing your fruit. And the hardest one for me is keeping my hands away from my face. That's the key. I did want to mention this. If you're running low on toilet paper, you can create a manual bidet. What I do when I travel, and we can resort to this anytime at home, is I have a dedicated sterile ketchup bottle. And the reason I use a ketchup bottle is that if it's in my luggage, nobody realizes what I'm using it for. And if you fill it up with warm water and soap, and you use that in the bathroom, you can cut down on a lot of toilet paper. So this is one tip that I'm going to throw out there for us. Meditation. Meditation is very, very important. There are so many meditation apps on there. You can ask, and I don't want to say her name too loud or she'll turn on. You can ask Alexa or Google to play guided meditation or meditation music. You can download an app for your phone called Insight, I-N-S-I-G-H-T, Insight Timer. There's another one called Calm, C-A-L-M. Someone had mentioned, was it you, Cindy, that mentioned Headspace?
Yeah, Headspace. I think they're even free right now. So a lot of them are giving away their services because
a couple of months free. Something. Yeah. You can use takeout and delivery, meal delivery companies, local restaurants. Many are now offering free delivery, and try to pay and tip by credit card. Try not to handle money if you can help it. Many drugstores like CVS and Walmart have drive up, delivery, and delivery. So we need to look at our local community and take advantage of this. Take advantage of Kindle. There's online library borrowing in your local area.
So you can also use like pickup services. So, you know, we talked about grocery delivery and we talked about the hours. There are some like Walmart where you can do the pickup, you know, so if you do drive, or you can have someone just go to Walmart where they can just put it in your car, that might be an option for people as well. But I know I've been tipping way more than I normally do, although I'm generally a good tipper. But even saying thank you. The other day I had a UPS driver deliver a box, and all I said was, thank you for your service. The appreciation that he showed just because I said thank you was like, wow, okay, you've been getting some bad, I was shocked at how pleased and appreciative he was by me just saying thank you for your service. It was, amazing to me. So I see a lot of people saying be nice to customer service people and that sort of thing. Please be nice. Say thank you. Um, Show your appreciation. I know, even yesterday with it, my groceries being really late, I'm not going to yell at the guy. I know he's struggling to help a lot of people get what they need. So I was just appreciative that he was able to do what I needed, which was get me some groceries. So, you know, show your appreciation when you're, whether it's financially, which I hope, you know, I'm in a decent place there with my job, but I know not everybody is. But if you can at least voice it, your appreciation goes a long way too.
Definitely goes a long way. And Brenda mentioned bed yoga. I'm sure that there are a lot of apps for that and for mental health. So solitary hobbies, paint, quilt, sculpt, listen to music, read. Netflix watch parties. I understand that you haven't done that yet, but there's Netflix watch parties. Something that I practice all the time, I call it gratitude prayers. How many times have you dropped something and you're angry and your day is going bad and everything I pick up winds up on the floor and damn it. And finally, I've changed my frame of mind. Instead of getting angry, I look at the cup and say, thank you for not breaking. As opposed to being so angry that I have one more thing to bend down and pick up. Thank you for not breaking and making it worse for me. Thank you for not being full of liquid. There's always something to have gratitude for, and that sense of humor is going to take you a long way. So with that, I think we've got our half hour. Beth, how are we doing?
Oh, hi, it's June. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we had a question from the audience from someone who uses a Trilogy ventilator and was wondering if this is helpful if you get the virus, and if it's the same kind of ventilator that we're all hearing about are in short supply in hospitals. So I can't answer that in general because ventilators are all over the place, but absolutely, if you are using one, keep using it. I've mentioned before that a lot of these ventilators, I think like the Trilogy has a cough assist setting. Use that prophylactically to make sure you're not building up anything that could lead to bronchitis or pneumonia. Dr. Joshua Bendit at the University of Washington, who is the pulmonologist there working with the neuromuscular disease clinic, said that if you unfortunately need to go to the emergency room, if you're experiencing the symptoms, the difficulty breathing, the tightness in the chest, he suggested you bring your ventilator, whether it's a BiPAP or Trilogy or whatever it is you're using, with you. No guarantee. Hospitals have different policies on whether they'll allow you to use it or not, but given that there's a risk they will be in short supply, given that this is what you use for your maintenance of your breathing function, he advises that you bring it with you.
Thank you. Yeah, and I don't know the answer to that either, but I do know even during normal times, normal circumstances, I have been advised that if you're going to the hospital for any reason, to the very least, bring your mask with you, at the very least. It can't hurt to bring the whole machine, and if they reject it or they're not going to use it, so be it, but it cannot hurt. There was one thing on Facebook that someone had written in, and I advised against it, where they were looking to buy now one of these BiPAP or Trilogy machines in case. And I advised against that because they really need to be titrated by a specialist. And as your needs change, the titration of inspiration, expiration, and the lag time in between, I forgot what it's called, rest time, needs to be modified by someone in the know. So if you're not using one, I don't advise you go and try to get one and use it by yourself.
Yeah.
If there's any comments or questions that someone would like to ask with voice rather than in the chat, all you need to do is just, there's a button for you to raise your hand, and you can do that. And then we can unmute you and you can ask the question of Amy or Cindy or any of us. Was there any other topics, Amy, that you wanted to cover before we?
No, pretty much that was it. There was one question further up in the chat where someone asked, and maybe you or June can answer to that. They were asking about the Fulcrum study and how that's going.
Right. June, do you want to answer that one?
Yes. So Fulcrum is obviously very concerned about how to make sure that the clinical trial can proceed, and while balancing the safety of patients. Obviously that comes first. So they have sent out some guidelines to all of the centers, and if you are in a trial, do contact your site coordinator, and they can provide you with the options that are appropriate for, because each site is different in terms of what's going on there and so forth. So if you are in a trial, please do contact your site coordinator, and they can provide the guidance you need.
Great.
It looks like Belinda is raising her hand to speak. I don't know how to unmute her. I think Krista might be able to unmute her. But, oh, go ahead. Yay. Hi, Belinda.
There I am. How are you all? Listening to the seminar, and it sounds great. June, can I let the cat out of the bag?
Oh, sure.
Great. Is any of you have children or no children, or want to listen to yourself and be amused? I am a children's book writer, and I have 6 published books. And on April 1st, during the 2 o'clock hour, I'll be reading, there'll be a program, and I'll be reading hopefully the first 2 chapters of my first book that was written in 2013. It's called Winter Frost. And just a heads up, it's about a family of gnomes who lives in a village called Twisted Oak. And it is the journey of Philip, the main character, to try to find his brother who was kidnapped by a red witch who lives in the icy, cold regions of Winterfrost. So there'll be a story, and my caretaker is working on all the graphics that will be able to be posted on YouTube.
Awesome, Belinda. I can't wait. I'm going to listen in. You don't have to be a child to listen in.
Oh, no. You know, some of my best readers are adults. I guess. I'm a little delinquent on the 3rd book, the 4th book rather, of the Philip's Quest series, because I lost the use of my right hand. And so I get questions, when is the 4th book? When is the 4th book coming out? In the meantime, there are 3 other books. It's a trilogy. It's called the Ragwort Chronicles. And those are for the younger children, not preschool, elementary, like 2nd to 4th grade, 5th grade. And they're also about a family of gnomes. So every book has a moral to the story. It's about brotherhood and family and what it means to be really rich. And there's a lot of references to geological things so that the children can ask questions about what's a Drummond, you know, why are these cliffs craggy, why are these gemstones mentioned? And they have pretty funny characters. The main 3 characters in Winterfrost is the gnome Philip, a squirrel named Edward, and a dinosaur named Stinky. And there's also a goblin that has, let's see, how can I say this in a genteel way? Irritable bowel syndrome. So tune in, it should be fun. And I hope you all will listen, and I hope you will go to the YouTube channel once we got that up and like the story.
That's fantastic, Belinda. We will send out information on how to tune in to Belinda's book reading, and it will be posted on our Sequester Camp webpage, which I'm going to put in the chat right now so everyone has access to it. All of our upcoming community engagement Sequester Camp activities will be posted on this page, as well as all the recordings from these webinars. Yeah. Amy, Cindy, any last things you'd like to add?
Cindy?
No, I think I'm good. You know, just what I would say is it's okay to not be okay. Try to keep some lines of communication open with people, whatever method or technology that is. And be thankful for what you have, and thank those who are helping you get through this time.
Great. I agree with Cindy on everything that she just said. And just have a sense of humor. Try to stay healthy. Wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands.
Well, awesome. Well, I just want to give a very special thank you to Amy and Cindy for putting this together for us today. You guys are awesome. We are very lucky to have you in our community. And thanks to all of the folks that tuned in today to attend our second Sequester Camp webinar. Like I said, we'll be updating our Sequester Camp webpage with these recordings, as well as other information as it arises. So check back there often. As I said, I posted the link in the chat. Did you have something, June?
Yeah, I wanted to invite anyone listening, if you would like to do some kind of Sequester Camp activity, like Belinda stepped up to say she'd like to do a reading. I mean, if you want to do a midday concert or a puzzle time, everybody getting on together and doing puzzles, or play an instrument, or whatever, comedy, we'd love it. We have a weekly schedule, and it'd be fun to fill it out with things that, and it's, we think that, nobody wished this whole situation on us, but since we are here, let's make the best of it. Let's use it as a time to get to know one another better and share our various talents and gifts, and enjoy the community that we have.
Awesome. We have a lot of talented people in our community too, so that would be wonderful. And as I mentioned, don't forget, every Wednesday night, 9 o'clock Eastern time, PM, Tim's going to do his radio show, and he's really going to encourage a lot of interaction and community involvement during those radio shows. So please tune in. I'm going to actually post the call-in number there if you don't have Facebook, or you don't want to stream Facebook Live. He does take phone calls as well. And then, of course, as Belinda said, don't forget, next Wednesday, April 1st, starting at 2 o'clock Eastern, she's going to start reading the first in her children's book series. So keep an eye.
And the next Sequester Camp is next Thursday, same time?
Same time, until we don't need them anymore, till we're not sequestered anymore. I don't know, here in Colorado, I just got the alert that it's at least through the end of April. So yay. So keep an eye out for these topics for next week's and subsequent week's webinars. And we hope to see you back here again next week. Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Amy and Cindy. You guys are the best. Mwah.
Mwah. Thank you, everybody. See you next week.
See you next week. Hi, Ray.
Oh.
Goodbye, everybody. Thanks again for attending.